What do they get to do?
Vote.
Vote? What else?
In the common stock,
Yes.
Ownership of corporation.
Common stock votes, preferred stock does not.
preferred stock,
Common stock is considered a what? Owner in the company. Right?
okay.
Shareholder.
Mhm.
Anything else they get to participate? They can receive dividends.
They can.
They don't have to. Depending upon the company they declare, right? Okay. Put option is the right to,
Right to buy,
no, right to sell.
right to sell.
Put, right to sell at a specific price. Call option,
Right
the
to
right to buy at a specific price. A leap is just a long-term option. okay. Options and dividends. How do dividends affect options? Now, we said with a common stock, how was it affected?
So if you declare a dividend, the price of the common stock goes down.
So how would that affect the dividend? I mean, how would the dividend affect an option? So say it was $25 the price, and the dividend was $1, that would go down to what?
24.
How would that affect a call option or a put option?
Call option is right to sell. No, call option is.
What would
right
happen to
buy.
the value of each one of these? Call is the right to buy.
Okay.
It was at 25, now it got reduced.
Then call option value gets reduced. Put option gets higher.
Reducing the value makes the put option worth more, makes the call option worth less. Make sense? Been a while since we discussed options. So, in the money. Let me write out that chart. I'll show you what in the money means. So, for example, if we had let's see. Netflix just split 7 for 1, they're going to in the future. So Netflix was around $700. And we'll say close at $696 today. Huh? If I had an in the money option, okay. An example of the in the money option would be what? Strike price, or sometimes they call it exercise price, would be what?
Below 696.
It will be below the.
Now, it depends on what we use, right? For a call.
So for call, it would be lesser than 696. And for put, it will be higher than 696.
In the money. It means I have some intrinsic value. Okay? For a call, strike price less than 696, put price greater than 696. So what would out of the money be then?
Exactly opposite.
For a call? For what? Opposite. Lastly, at the money. And that's the formula you should think about. Okay? A naked option is I sell the option itself without owning the underlying instrument. I sell a put, I sell a call, they consider that a quote-unquote naked option. Okay? Covered means I sell the option, but I own the underlying instrument in some way. I'll give you an example of that. Use our Netflix example, and we'll say that Netflix is $6.96, right? Let's see what I want to use for that. This is an example of a covered, what they call a call, covered call. I have two positions. I own 100 shares of Netflix. I also have sold the 700 call of Netflix. One of them. Because one share, or one option equals what? 100 shares, right? I sold the call, but I already own the stock, covered. With a naked option, there's more risk. What is a swap? What kinds are there?
Interest rate?
Interest rate's the most common. One of the people, one of the companies takes fixed, the other person takes floating. The fixed person thinks interest rates are going to do what? Go higher. The floating person thinks interest rates are going to go lower. And payments are based upon some notional value like $500,000, $1 million. They usually settle every 3 weeks. Interest rate. Also, currency. I will swap you this currency for this currency given a certain amount of time. 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. Okay? Banks can either be just a broker of these, bring two parties together, or they can be on the other side of that transaction if they want to be too. Okay. Interest rate, most popular. Currency, second most popular.
So interest rate is flexible. At that time, you're going for, no, in case if the interest rate is going down, then you're going for flexible interest rate. In
You
case
want to
of
be on the floating side.
floating side. If the interest rate is going higher, you want to be on the fixed side.
What companies will do is they'll look at their interest rate exposure, okay? Or even their lending exposure. Say a mortgage company, mortgage bank, has a lot of variable rate exposure, okay? What are they worried about interest rates doing? I own a bunch of mortgages that have variable interest rates.
So they'll be worried about interest rate going lower
Correct.
because
Interest rates go higher, my mortgage adjusts, they're variable interest rate, right? I make money, more money if they go higher. Of course, more people might default, but I suppose to make more money. What's my concern? Low interest rates.
Very high.
What would I take?
So in case if you think that the interest rate are going higher, then you'll go for floating because you're a bank.
I'm trying to offset my interest rate risk.
In order to offset your interest variable risk.
That's combining number 24 with what we're talking about here with swaps. As a mortgage broker, what's my concern about interest rates?
Interest rate going lower,
Ooh,
going higher.
if you're writing mortgages, you want mortgages to be as low as possible, right? Mm-hmm.
No, if you're writing mortgages, you want,
I'm not gonna own them, I'm just writing them. The more the mortgages are lower, the more mortgages I write. Right? Mm-hmm.
okay,
So if my mortgage business, if interest rates rise, my mortgage business slows down. So what do I want, how will I hedge that?
by investing into a higher interest, some
What kind of swap?
bonds.
What about a variable?
Hmm?
Do I want a variable or a fixed?
You'd like variable.
Why fixed? Oh, you could ask me that question. What a jerk he is. Can't just agree with me.
Variable because the interest rates are rising, so you want to get higher returns back.
Mhm. Maybe this will help you guys a little bit with the swaps. Don't necessarily go for the terminology. So say we're doing just 500,000 in the swap, okay? And we're gonna have a rate. Let's do 5%. This is called the tenor. The swap price is at 5%. So, it can go lower, it can go higher. Okay, so every, usually 3 months, every 90 days, something like this is gonna happen. Whatever the percentage rate is, times 90 divided by 360. So every 90 days, I'm going to receive a payment like this. If it goes higher, who pays? Goes lower, who pays? What's the payment consist of? 5 minus, if it goes lower, 4.75%. If it went higher, it'd be 5.25 minus 5%. So we're just talking about the change in that 90-day time period. My notional value, that $500,000, is never at risk. Depending upon how this goes, I'm either paying or receiving every 90 days. I don't know if that helps or makes it more confusing, but.
You change in a 90-day what?
Interest rates. They price it when they write the deal. It's a legal contract. It's called a ISDA. Okay? And you price it at, they call it, the price in this case is an interest rate. And then from where the interest rate goes, that determines who pays. Now this 500, banks do these in $1 billion increments. Depending on what their own interest rate exposure is, or they worry about their risk. Okay. Last two, forward contracts. Over the counter. Bank driven. Okay? 90-day interest rate. When we looked at the 90-day forward rate for the British pound US dollar, right? That's driven by the bank. A futures contract is exchange traded. What's the difference?
Risk.
The exchange guarantees that the other side of that transaction is valid. with a forward contract, who's the other side of the transaction? The bank.
And bank may default.
And the bank can default. And if the bank defaults, guess what?
Sure.
Your deal with them, ripped up and thrown away. So futures contracts theoretically have no default risk because they're exchange traded. Because the Chicago Mercantile Exchange guarantees the delivery of that contract. Forward contract done through banks, other counterparties, not guaranteed by anybody. So remember when the banks got a lot of money from AIG? They were involved in swaps, credit default swaps. AIG owed them money. AIG was in default, right? That's why the bank stepped up and paid, gave AIG money so that they could pay the banks. In theory, banks should have been out of luck because AIG was a faulty counterparty. Who wants to go home? The people not raising their hands are blind. Okay, you got 3 hours and 30 minutes. There's 12 questions. Each question is worth 20 points. So don't start, there's no reason to do the more, the higher point ones first. Just go down the line.
Just go.
How about the hedge and interest rate risk?
Interest rate risk?
Hedge.
Hedge it. We can do it by what I said with the interest rate swap. We are worried about variable. Are interest rates going higher? How do we hedge? If interest rates go higher, we lose money, so we want to hedge with a floating one that makes money when interest rates go higher. Okay? It all depends upon what kind of exposure you have to the interest rates. Where do you make more money? If you're a mortgage, if you own mortgages, we said you lose money when interest rates go lower. If you own a lot of variable, right? So then you want to put a fixed interest rate. Print out all your discussion questions. How are you guys doing in those discussions? Are you done with them?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had one question related to the test.
Okay.
There was one question which says to calculate using tax and tax benefit.
Okay. In this week's?
No, last week.
Week 6? Okay.
Quiz, right? Yeah, quiz.
Okay. We'll take that answer.
And, okay, last question.
No, it's not.
Our discussion you will post the.
I will post on, if you guys are all done, I'll post it tomorrow.
Yeah, great. And
I sure
also, how about the homework?
Homework is graded now.
Yes.
I owe you a correction, right? I owe you the correction.
Yeah, I will see. I will
Yep.
still.
I'll send that to you tonight.
Thank you.
You said there will be 15 questions or?
Well, each 20 apiece.
Wow.
When is the last day?
Sunday, midnight it cuts.
Sunday. This Sunday?
I think it said Saturday in the show.
does?
Didn't it change? I
No.
thought it did.
I'll take a double check and take a look.
I will.
Is it midnight or 11 o'clock an hour before?
Okay.
Actually, now we're.
If you're up taking it at Sunday night at 11 o'clock,
Full 1 o'clock.
That'll be me.
Make sure.
Oh yeah, that's like the last time.
Make sure it's Sunday Sunday night.
Mhm.
Because I was
Mhm.
planning to take it on Sunday
Sunday night at 11?
before 11.
Okay. Some people take quizzes at 2, 3 in the morning, it's crazy.
That's me.
Because I see the time they were submitted.
Yeah, I'm not
Okay,
getting
right
it.
now.
Sunday, or we don't know. Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Drink a lot of beer, get drunk,
Yeah, they see, now we're talking.
and then start doing.
Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
Let it go. They should be relaxed.
You feel good like after taking the quiz, like, oh, I know this answer, oh, I know this answer. But then later on, like next day morning, you wake, was that right?
I used to do the same thing too, I remember that, yeah.
So besides the discussions, the other quizzes, look at those?
Everything's
too?
graded, yeah, everything's out there, graded, done. Mhm.
No, I know.
Oh, you mean, oh,
Will that help with?
I would print out all of this, I'd have the discussions available,
Uh-huh.
put them on Word or whatever you want to. And I would also look at the other quizzes if it's related, if there's anything related on here.
On this
Yeah.
review.
Use this as your base.
Okay.
You give us the question, it's you give us the question, the
What?
final question?
Did I?
Uh-huh.
No!
No, you,
I don't give you final questions, I give you final review questions. Review.
Proszę wytrzymał.
okay, I was in email feedback.
Oh, you're gonna send me an email, I'm ready for it.
What?
Good luck with all everything.
Thank you. Yeah,
What day of the week is it?
Saturday. Yeah, but I'll post the
I will put
videos
the
if
message
they're
on
helpful to you.
Mister, you gonna take, when you take?
My boy is waiting for
I'll be posting videos anyway.
You gonna take off too?
That's right, let's go see your son.